Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Elkin. I'm a Senior Vice President of Software Products here at Reason Consulting. We're extremely happy to have everybody who's participating today in our webinar for Taxscribe Pro. Today, we want to take a few minutes of your time to run through one of our product lines, which is Taxscribe Pro, as well as hear from one of our great clients, Robin Lotz, who is from Cain Watters and Associates. They've been utilizing our platform for the last year and have been gracious enough to come on and talk about and provide some of their feedback and why they made the move to Taxscribe Pro from their previous platform, what some of the benefits they've been able to see are, and how they plan to continue to utilize it and utilize it even further in the future. Before we jump in, one quick housekeeping item. We do want to take any and all questions that anyone has as we go throughout this webinar. If you want to use the question and answer feature that's down at the bottom of your screen, you can submit those questions to us. We'll have a little bit of time at the end of the call to answer a few questions. And then we'll also be providing you with all of our contact information at the end so you can contact Andy Buckles, who's also on the call, our Director of Sales, and get any kind of deeper information that you need. But if you want to submit those Q&As like as we go through the webinar, that'll be great. And if we don't answer your question specifically, we'll make sure to shoot an email out with an answer to your question following this call. Let me see. Let's go ahead and move forward with kind of with that. I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. So, as a brief background, Reason Consulting, excuse me, Reason Consulting, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We focus on providing software solutions for both the public and private sectors. As I already mentioned, today we're going to be focusing on Taxscribe Pro, which is primarily focused to the tax professionals, someone like Robin working with Cain Watters or someone working with another accounting firm, CPAs throughout the country. What makes this program unique is the fact that it is a nationwide platform that allows users to complete filings for all of your clients throughout the country in just one platform and not having to bounce around to different solutions in order to file in Alabama or file in Tennessee or file in Oklahoma. You can utilize our system. We have already built in all of the PDFs, all of the forms that are needed to file for business personal property tax throughout the country. So it is a one-stop shop for business personal property tax filings. That said, one of the questions that I often get is, what can your system do for my organization? If you'll go ahead to the next slide. Great, thank you. The simple answer is we create efficiencies. We create a more efficient workflow by utilizing our system. And if you create efficiencies, we create cost savings. If we create cost savings, we increase margins. If we increase margins, we create successful organizations and successful businesses. And that is our main goal, is to create some of those efficiencies and some of those workflow advantages by utilizing our system. We do this by housing all of your business personal property tax forms in one location, and where you can easily access, review, report on, and most importantly, file those returns through our system. One thing that is also, we've done some extensive research throughout the country in every jurisdiction that we're in to determine what the delivery methods are for each one of those jurisdictions. When you get to the end of our application, as Adam will show you here in just a little bit, you're presented with options that we know are acceptable by those jurisdictions, whether that is mail, submitting via certified mail, where we print the form out for you and have that mailed out. So there's no need for you to print it out and mail it yourself. You can print it out and mail it yourself if you would like, or if that jurisdiction happens to have an e-filing system, maybe it's our e-filing system, or maybe it's someone else's. We can submit via e-filing as well. So it really is a one-stop shop for all of your business personal property filing needs. And most importantly, while we're streamlining your process, we're also making it paper-free. We're housing all of the data in one location, so that you're not having to go and find that paper form or go to that filing cabinet and find last year's filing. You can go ahead and just access it through our system very quickly and efficiently. I can go on and on for quite a long time. I know we don't have that much time here, so I want to make sure that I get Robin enough time to speak. So, Robin, why don't you jump off of mute real quick and introduce yourself for us?
Hey everybody, my name is Robin Lotz. I've been with Cain Watters and Associates for a little over 12 years. During this time, I do manage the business personal property tax team. We have about 10 to 12 people on our team each year. We file a little over 1,100 returns at the moment, mostly due between January and May. So Taxscribe Pro has actually helped us quite a bit to making sure that we get all those returns filed timely.
Thank you for that, Robin. Thank you for introducing yourself. You're a valued client of ours, and we're excited to have you on the call. One thing I was curious about is what was one of the driving factors that, really spurred on your move from your previous, your previous solution to move to TaxScribe Pro?
So mainly with our previous solution, it was cumbersome. It was a great product. I'm not saying that it's not. Excuse me. But the main thing was we have interns that we teach how to do business personal property tax returns. It's probably the least looked at return in people's eyes. They're like, ah, it's just a property tax return. Do it and go. So we do have our interns do it, which means we're teaching very green, just out of college or probably still in college interns how to do these returns. And so each year getting in a new batch, trying to teach them a very complicated software was very hard for us.
Mm.
They'd finally get it probably a month or two in, and then we'd have to rush to get everything else done. So really, we wanted a simplified software. We wanted something to, when somebody looked at a form, they could say, oh, this is where this goes. This is where I input this to make it flow correctly to a form. And they could put it together without having to go all the background stuff and then go through a bunch of steps and then look at the form. So we were really looking just for a simplified method to get our work done.
Fantastic. And I think that that's exactly what one of the benefits of TaxScribe Pro is that it does give you that simplified version. One of the things that I know we've got on here how this has simplified your personal property tax filings. One of the things you just kind of alluded to was that kind of real time, visuals of where information was actually being populated on the form. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things that we really struggled with is we would have to go through the entire form with our inputs. I mean, literally several steps to be able to go and look at the actual PDF form to make sure it looked how we wanted it to look. It's like doing a whole entire tax return before you're able to see, the end product, a 1040, 1120, whatever. Here, if we make one change, we can just hit one button, look at PDF, and you can see exactly the change that you made has been made on that return. Um, it saved us a lot of time because we don't have to send the returns back to the preparers to, hey, make this one little change and then reprint everything. It's literally, if I need to check a box, I go in and check a box, look at the PDF, make sure it's done correctly, and print the return.
Exactly. And that is what that middle bullet right there, that real-time PDF generation is what she's referring to. And Adam will be able to show that live here in just a second. But that is one thing that is a differentiator, I think, between other platforms and TaxScribe Pro is that ability to in real time fill out that form, fill it out halfway if you need to. If you need information from your client. You can stop in the middle and come back to it in progress, form, and start right where you left off. You can assign it out to different individuals. So like those interns, who you were saying that you are coming in to work for you, you can assign out, here are these different returns I'd like for you to focus on this week and help them build some time management skills and help them build, some workflow skills that will ultimately end up helping them later on because they've been utilizing such an easy to use system. And then that
Yes.
also creates transparency between the teams. Can you talk a little bit about some of that transparency that you've been able to see and how you're able to view other forms as they're being processed?
Really, I mean, in TSP, we can go in and we can search by jurisdiction if we need to say, hey, all of, this county needs to be out at a certain time because they are very strict on their mailing. They need to have it in office. by a certain date, not just postmarked by a certain date. So we can go in and run that one county and see if it's all been done. We can see if it's still outstanding. We can see if it's in process. We can see if the information hasn't even been, put in the door yet. We can also pull them by state forms. So if I want to look at a whole state instead of just a county, I can do that as well. So having the different filters is also a huge help, because then you can just go through and see exactly where in the process it is.
Fantastic. I think that's a great point that you bring up about filtering, and I know Adam will also speak to that here shortly. Um, Anything else that you'd like to mention? I know that cost savings is on there. Everybody always wants to hear about cost savings and how can this save me money. Has that been a contributing factor in y'all's decision to stay with Taxscribe and move forward with us as you continue to grow?
So as cost savings, we're a pretty big firm. And so the old software that we had, like I said, it was great. It gave a great finished product, but it was cumbersome, which took more time. So in the end, it was probably taking about the same amount of time and then just costing more, but still looked nice. When we moved over to TSP, we had a better product that was simplified, made us be able to get the work done faster.
Hmm.
Um, it was less expensive. And then it also helped us in other ways. So, not only are we able to speed up entering the information, we could then, instead of doing FedEx, we could actually go through TSP and do the mailing if we wanted to. Originally, TSP just had mailing that you guys would track and say, hey, yes, we've mailed this return. For us, that was just like dropping it off at the post office. Yep, we put it in the mail, but on our end, we probably have 15 to 20 returns that come back every year from the county saying, hey, we didn't get your filing, even though
Hmm.
we know we know we put them in the mail.
That's right.
So we needed some kind of tracking. And working with you guys last year, you guys actually came up with USPS tracking. So that was huge for us too. When we come to TSP with an issue, so to say, um, we needed
We
tracking.
don't have issues, that's right, Robin. We have
we
zero
we had the
issues.
issue. We had the issue.
We're the
We
only
needed
tech company, yeah, only tech company on the planet to have zero issues, right? Yeah,
we needed tracking,
right.
um, because that could be $1,000 expense for our client if they got a penalty, even though we know we mailed it. Um, and so we came to TSP and we said, hey, this is what we need, and they jumped right on it. They went and made sure that with their mailing group that they could actually do tracking, and they got that set up for us as well.
Yeah, yeah, that is a great feature that was implemented this year that I'm really excited about and have already seen the fruits of it, like you're mentioning, to say that not only is it the location where you come in and create your filing, it is also the location where you can submit your filing. It's also the location where you can confirm the delivery of your filing.
Yeah.
So being able to have this, like you've mentioned in your bullet points, end-to-end process, it truly is an end-to-end process, which I think is extremely exciting and one of the greatest benefits to what we do here. So anything further before I let you go? I know you're super busy. I know you may have a hard stop here at 2:30 y'all's time. I'm in Central Time. I think Robin, I think you're in Central Time as well.
We are. I did want to say one last thing, just on TSP. When we came to you guys last year, we had to make a quick decision on whether we were going to move or not. And there wasn't an option with staying with the old software if we were also going to join in with TSP. And so we had to say, hey, either we're going to jump in or we're not this year. We knew that we wanted to move with TSP after they got all their states input into TSP. We just didn't know, is it the right move before they get all their states in? All the states that they didn't have in, we would have to do by hand,
Mm,
like we used to back in the day.
right.
So we decided as a team we were going to move in with TSP and say, hey, we're going to hand do all the other returns. But from TSP, we needed you guys to add 4 more states. We were like, if you guys can add these 4 more states, we'll do it. Because that'll give us a better play for the next year. So we didn't have to do as many. TSP told us, hey, we promise we are going to get you guys those 4 states by the end of the year. They'll be ready before tax season. They gave us a listing of when it would be done, and they hit all their target dates for us to make sure that we had those in before the tax season. So it's not a lot of software companies that would say, hey, this is what you need. I'll make sure to get them and then actually hit the due dates that you guys have given us. So
Well,
we
thank you.
really do appreciate that.
Well, that is a massive credit to our fantastic development team, which Adam heads up. Um, we've got some of the fastest and hardest workers out there right now, and who actually have the intellect and have the understanding of the tax process. And I think that is what is another kind of differentiator for us is we've been doing this for quite a while now, and we have a deep understanding of the tax process and what are the most important hurdles for you, and what are the biggest roadblocks that you run into. And obviously, one of those was making sure that you were able to submit in every state and submit quickly. And we were able to, figure that out and get it taken care of for you. And now you've been one of the drivers for that, and we really appreciate the relationship there. Now we're in every state that has business personal property tax. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We can just continue to move forward and continue to enhance our product to do additional things like sales and use tax, and some other forms of submissions that will be coming available here in the next in a matter of months, really some of our states that we work with. So. Robin, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being willing to jump on. Not a lot of people are willing to just jump on and show their face to a bunch of strangers. So thank you very much for jumping on and speaking so highly of the platform. And we look forward to continuing to work with you moving forward.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Moving on, we do want to jump into a true demo and run this group through our platform end to end, and show a lot of the different capabilities that we have. And so for that, I'm going to introduce Adam Hunter, who's our Chief Technology Officer, for a quick run through of the system.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Jamie. I am Adam Hunter, Chief Technology Officer of Reason Consulting. The privilege with working for our CTO for over 16 years, and we've been working on Taxscribe for the government sector for over 15 years. A few years ago, we started with Taxscribe Pro, and it has been an excellent journey since. I'm going to switch over to the application out of PowerPoint and make sure you can all see my screen. Right, and Jamie, before you disappear, if you don't just mind confirming you can in fact see my screen.
We're good.
Excellent. All right, well, we're going to get started then. I originally wanted to be an accountant back in the early aughts, and I did the thing that many of the cool kids did, which was drop out of college and start a software company, which landed me working for somebody else, like most people who did that. But I've had the privilege of working on accounting software ever since. Taxscribe Pro is really the culmination of almost 2 decades of experience in building electronic business personal property systems, which really evolved into document management. It's very easy to get started and to sign in, and as soon as you enter into Taxscribe Pro, it takes you straight into the dashboard of the forms that you have available for that year. So the number one question that we get from everyone about Taxscribe Pro is, how do I get my data in there? How do I manage my data year over year? So starting with your data year over year, I'm going to switch to last year actually, and talk about a couple of filters real quick. So we have all the filing years that you might have used Taxscribe Pro for, because we also allow you to import from other government software. We'll skip that for now. I'm going to switch to 2024. Couple of things to discuss real quick are that we let you, as Robin mentioned, search by jurisdiction, which is all the jurisdictions you may have filed in, and any form by status, which lets you help track your workflow, as well as by the assignee. So you can find anything that's in review by all these different mats, yet another mat, so many mats. And you can find the specific form type that you're looking for, which there are many, many. So in this case, we have 2024. You can see there's a signer already designated on the document and a preparer, where we have Matt test again. And if I wanted to start from this form in 2025, I could just click on this clone button, which will take all of my data from last year, copy all of the normal fields over and then take the data that has year data in it at a new year for 2025 and take the bottom year of all those different tables and roll it up. Now, if we are integrated with a provider such as we'll use in North Carolina's Mecklenburg County, for instance, you can actually start your form by reviewing their tax roll. And just by clicking on Start Listing, it will bring the listing up, which click takes just a moment. Now this actually connects, this is connecting to a test database on the county server, downloading and bringing all the data in there. And then if I save this form, it's saved immediately and available on my dashboard. And as Robin mentioned, the PDF is here immediately. As soon as I've saved it the first time, I can view a PDF, which I'm not, just to give you all a sample of you can click on viewing the PDF, and then it's a pretty quick process. This is a 4-page form, which has all the data filled out. It's all test data. And I will move back into Taxscribe. So Taxscribe also lets you organize you can have different groups of people if you wanted to in different organizations or be part of different organizations. So these could be teams, these could be different departments. It lets you organize it really however you like. So I'm going to switch over to Adams Accounting and go to the dashboard there. Still have 2024 selected, so I'm going to close that and switch back to 2025. In 2025, I'm going to start a new form. We're going to do, because Alabama is opening up on October 1st, we're going to use them as our example. Also, it's less clicking since it starts with, we'll start with Baldwin County and launch a business personal property form. Now, this form has smart defaults. You can see, obviously, the state is Alabama, and anything we can pre-fill for you from blank that we will. And then you enter in the information, and I'll save it, and you can immediately begin to look at the PDF. Here we go. And I can do this as I go along. You can see it has the county's address already pre-filled in there, the information I've already put in there. And I can close this and continue to add more information as I need to. Now, as riveting as it would be to watch me type out this entire form, I've pre-filled one. So I'm going to switch over to that one, back to our dashboard. And I'm going to show my filters to hop into Baldwin. This is the example form, and I have this form in progress here to continue through it. So this has been filled out for me again. I'm going to launch that PDF because this is a very helpful feature. It lets you check everything that you've filled out in here. I will step through this piece by piece, which will be a little bit slow, but certainly not as slow as watching me type it in. Every section lets you add or decide if you're going to add information. So if you were to hit no, it would be cleared out. And can also add additional items if I need to, and I can add as many additional items as I need to. And all of our PDFs are designed to add overflow forms. Now, one of the things that we run into a lot is that many business personal property forms or tangible property forms have ancillary forms, or maybe even secret's not the right word, but hardly known requirements about the special way that this form needs to be filled out. So in Part C, for instance, there's a completely different form that needs to get filled out that our system doesn't natively support right now. However, as a document management system, I can take my already filled out form, pardon me, dragging my little Zoom thing all over the place, and take my already filled out ADV ACR 45 and drag and drop it here. So when I hit PDF, you will see that not only do I have the first 3 forms, pages that I just showed you a moment ago, but I also now have this extra form that I've baked in here with my supersys now. Now I can attach any document in here I need to. This is an example of one that was specifically requested the jurisdiction. Continuing through here, I can fill out the rest of the data as I need to, getting into part F. And now the next logical question becomes, well, what if I just have to attach an arbitrary asset listing? Or we have a business process that requires us to list this particular document that we want to make sure everyone can see. So in that example, I've created, this is completely fake data. I literally had a AI agent make me up a what could be a sort of sample looking asset listing. And I'm just going to actually download this as a PDF straight from Google Docs, export it. So the PDF didn't even exist a moment ago. And then I can drag and drop this into here. And do it right. There we go. And then I drag and drop it into here. And I'll open up my PDF. Once my PDF is open, you can see now this is baked into this whole asset package. So I've got 5 pages, got the Alabama form with the data that I filled out. And this is the PDF I just generated on the fly, as well as the one I prepared in advance. So, and this can go on and on. You can add any portrait style PDF that could be printed out in this 8.5 by 11 format into Taxscribe, and it can be mailed to jurisdiction. So just as a quick example, also about the real-time nature of this, I'm gonna just update this right here and type in really awesome gadget. And press PDF just to demonstrate quickly you're able to go and check form has been updated, my update's been made live, and I can do this so on and so forth. But again, watching me type isn't exactly what you're here for, but making PDFs I think is. So once you've got this PDF all created, and let me move on to my information page, keep on saving. I guess I can just click on affirmation, which makes it nice and easy to navigate. A lot of times, you may not want to sign this yourself, or you have a designated signer. Pro also supports that by using its client location feature. Now, in this case, I've preloaded this client in here, my Alabama reason, and I'm going to create a link. This is going to send a single access link to me or not to me, to the client, who happens to be me in this case, that allows me to review the form and sign it. So I'm going to sign this as Bob Bobbert. If you give me a moment to fish that out of my email. The emails come in very quickly. I already have it. And I'm putting the link right now. Come over here and paste in a new tab. This is Bob Barber's view of it. As you can see, everything is now read-only, but we can step through. You can see this really awesome gadget. B1, C. You can click on this here, so I can see this form here. Then I can close it. And I'm going to jump over these other exciting sections just so you can see sample asset listing I've shared with Bob. You can also see that and fill it out. And finally, we get to the affirmation, which will add a signature. So we're going to do Bob Barber. This nice signature here in the middle. And now it is signed. So if I go back to our application, Thumbs Accounting, I refresh this page, you'll see Bob Bobbert has already signed it. And we're ready to complete this listing now that it's been signed. And if I open up the PDF, you will see the PDF also has Bob's signature on it right here down here. I do want to complete this form. And excuse me, I'm going to stay on the screen for a minute because it's probably the most exciting screen in Taxscribe Pro. This is really one of our significant differentiators outside of the real-time PDF. We understand that this software is not useful to you if you cannot get your form to the jurisdiction in a timely fashion. As I mentioned previously, we have extensive experience working with the government and getting forms to the government in a timely fashion, and that's our goal here with Tax. The 3 examples you see here, starting at the bottom, is print, which means that you're going to handle getting it there yourself. You'd click on print, you'd print it out and stick it in an envelope, you'd lick the stamp and you'd send it in there. And there's probably a Seinfeld show reference in there for those of you who like that type of thing. But assuming you don't want to lick 1,000 envelopes, then we have our first class mail and certified mail option. Now, essentially, they're similar options, which means we're going to send this mail for you. We have a secure vendor, which will print this out within 3 days and get it into the mail. We recommend certified mail because it gives you the option to have a USPS tracking number. Just like if you order something from Amazon, you will get a tracking number so you can see when it gets delivered to the jurisdiction. Now, I know we've also had been told that there are jurisdictions who never check their post office box or can't even receive certified mail. And in those cases, we still offer a first class mail option. You can also see over here how we have Baldwin County's mailbox already preloaded. If for some reason we did not have their address in here, you'd be able to enter it into an address book, which I'll show in a little bit, but you can send mail from this system to anywhere you need to because this is at its core a document management system, which means you can upload any arbitrary attachments you need to and select the destination for it. So this certified mail, when I click on mail my form, is going to send me an email saying that, thank you very much for sending this form. It's going to create a read-only copy of this, and I'm going to slide into our test example so that I can generate a tracking number for that, which would happen within 3 days if this was a production form. And we'll take you over to mail tracking. So inside of forms under mail tracking, you can see I mailed one earlier today. And this is one that I've just set up as well. This is a fake tracking number, obviously, as we're not really mailing this to Baldwin County. But the idea being you can copy and paste this straight into the USPS tracking system. You may notice too, I have no client here. Taxscribe wants you to be able to organize everything you have by clients and locations. So I have this example business I just set up right here, and I'm going to assign it a location. So perhaps I forgot to do that in the beginning. And this will make sure that I have everything grouped as I would expect by my client and location. It's now been updated here. Now, again, that's print, first class mail, and certified mail. And primarily that's how that will work for almost every jurisdiction. Now, there are a couple of other types of deliveries that we offer. So, such as in Georgia, parts of Michigan, and North Carolina, we offer electronic delivery. So, instead of all the mailing options at the very top, you'd see e-file, which is a single push button to electronically deliver that to the county. We're working every year, really every day, to expand the number of jurisdictions that we integrate with e-filing. We have a plethora that are on our uh, pipeline of getting added throughout the next year. And we want to ultimately, we would prefer to have all of these be electronically delivered. The mail is what we would consider to be a secondary stopgap for the next several years while everyone accepts electronic delivery. So bring up that address book real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. And that's lives under organizations, a couple of different items in here. So I can create different addresses as I need to in here and assign them to a jurisdiction. So if I was mailing to Apache, Arizona, or to Abbeville, South Carolina, it would use these addresses in here, which I just added from auto completing. Also, as you saw before, I added the form to a client and location, which we have under here in clients. Pushed all. I just have a couple of these in here. The example one I was using right here, you can see I have my Alabama reason using a couple of locations. I have 3 listed in here: Madison, Autauga, and Baldwin. Baldwin being the one I just worked on. And this lets me bring up the form that I have just assigned into here so I can see exactly what I'm sending and where I sent it and how I've organized it. Then with that, we'll be rolling out very soon and can offer a beta, the ability to use this functionality to start importing data. So when you come to clients, there would be not only would you have an add client button here, which lets you enter them one at a time, but there'd be an import client button, which will let you upload a CSV. And then from that CSV, be able to upload all of the business personal property data. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I just want to finish covering the other items on here. So users, I only have 2 people in here, but as you can see, we have a number of different permissions, such as signature, signer, preparer. If this person doesn't actually need to access tax data, but needs to be able to enter in billing information, they can do that as well. So our system is pretty standard as far as an enterprise system with its user management and roles. And as we mentioned earlier, I just want to go back to the beginning where I mentioned how we have assignees. Open up my filters list. I'll just go ahead and some assignees. So I can Adam or Comlash, because those are the 2 users that I've just shown you that have a permission that allows them to be assigned. And so I'll select this one in particular. and I will assign this form to Kamlesh. He's going to be a preparer. And just kidding. Okay, like I just told you, said he has user details. Back over here, and I forgot to click prepare while I was doing that. And then I come back into here and I select this form. I'm going to assign that to prepare.
And
There we
just as
go.
a confirmation, if we were to have some assignee who was, who then ended up leaving the firm, and you need to reassign, it's just this simple, straightforward process, correct? To reassign, and you can reassign to anyone who has the permissions, correct, Adam?
That's correct. Yes. Yep. I meant to click prepare a second ago and
No,
I
no,
just
no. I thought that,
misclicked.
I thought
And
that actually showed
um,
things perfectly to show how it wasn't allowing a prepare, and now it was so easy to change. That's
but
perfect.
if I wanted to bulk update them, I could just hit select all or deselect all, and but select all to assign those forms. And I'll set them all to Kamlesh, which you can see he is now assigned to all of them.
Fantastic.
So, and if I wanted to be a preparer, I'd go add preparer to myself. And finally, under organization details, we have this fancy connect to QuickBooks button. There's a number of different softwares that we're working on integrating with, but QuickBooks is one of the ones that is already in production. And we use this for our sales and use offering. We have sales and use tax in North Carolina and South Carolina in beta, and that will be in production very soon. And anyone who wants beta access can reach out to us directly for us to show them exactly how that will work, how they can connect their QuickBooks or import their data in another way. Throughout next year, we're going to be adding every other jurisdiction into sales and use tax, because I'm going to go back to the very beginning where Robin was talking about the states that we needed to add, because I want to point out how we at this point now have every single state that supports business personal property in our system that has any kind of form that gets delivered to them. We support in every one of those jurisdictions e-filing if we support it. We support certified mailing. We support first class mailing. You can print it, mail it yourself. And one of the maybe objections isn't the right word, but one of the observations that have been made to us is that what if they don't accept mail? How and you don't naturally integrate with them? Well, continuing from there, we are in the process of wrapping up training our team, and this will be, excuse me, enabled extremely soon in the system, which is what we call Transcribe. And this is an American-based team who will take the data that you've entered and handle entering it into a custom government's e-file system for you. So just like when you clicked on certified mail, you'd click on transcribe. We have a 3-day turnaround time that will have the same sort of progress indicators. Hey, this has been received. We're going through it. There's a messaging system that will allow you to talk back and forth if there's any issues. And that will get typed in directly into any jurisdiction's system. So if you want to use Taxscribe Pro for every single one of your business, personal, or tangible personal property returns, you can do that because even if they don't support mail, we have an American team that will type this in there for you. You just outsource that data entry. We, once it's complete, upload a screenshot of the submission so you have that for your records as well. Excuse me. And then,
Adam, I
yep,
love that you mentioned all that, because you're kind of running down the list of the QAs that are coming in as they're coming in without even knowing it. We had one individual ask about, whether or not we supported Texas and North Carolina. Absolutely, we do. And we had a couple other questions specifically about e-filing and how we handle that. And I'm really happy that you explained our transcription service as well, to show how we have a workaround for being able to utilize our system and our system only for every single one of their filings. I think that was perfect.
excellent. I'm glad to hear that. And then finally, I would just want to touch briefly on fixed asset management, the beta available very soon for this, where we have essentially the ability to, for any one of those client locations, use a classic asset management interface and upload into that asset management interface. Once all the assets are classified based on the state, they can be automatically summarized and imported into the state's form. So if it's classified as furniture and fixtures in North Carolina, we know that's going to go on group one. And that will happen automatically through just a basic spreadsheet upload. I showed you the Google Sheet before, and you can imagine it's going to look very similar to that, which I've got the asset, its classification, the amount, the year, etc. Once I've created the client and location, which I can also do through an import, I would upload that data into there. And if I needed to, map it directly to some fields, because we'll have an interface that lets you have your data in your shape and map it to the fields that we have available. I'm sure you've seen it in other software as a service applications. And then just generate this year's form from that fixed asset import. And with that, Jamie, I will turn it back over to you.
All right, moving on to kind of Q&A. What I was just mentioning before was was exactly true. Adam was knocking out Q&A questions that have come through as he was moving through the system. So thank you so much for addressing all of that. A couple other things that we have had come through were, and I think we addressed this during the call, was can we get our client to sign the documentation? Adam was able to show you how we can absolutely get electronic signature, send them an email immediately for the documentation to be signed off on by the client, and that is then auto-populated and is presented immediately upon submission of that client. So yes, that's absolutely something we can do. Can we? And this is one question that I need to probably pose to Adam. Can we just send an invoice instead of using a credit? One thing we didn't go over is buying credits for how we charge for the system. So can we send invoices on a monthly basis, or do we have to go in and utilize a credit card to, purchase new credits to submit filings?
Credits can absolutely be pre-purchased by invoice, and we work that out with our billing department. We add them to your account in advance, and it's very easy to determine how many credits you're going to need because you already know how many forms you're going to want to file and or mail. Also, one other thing I had skipped over entirely accidentally. Speaking of digital signatures, once the form's completed from that same client location interface, you can email the completed return directly to either whoever signed it or the customer as you need. And it will allow you to add a custom cover sheet with your logo on it. You just upload your logo, type in the cover sheet's letter, and then that emails it to your customer.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, that is all the questions I've got. Like I said, we answered a few. I got a question that just came in that said, can Taxscribe handle categories for each asset? Um, and we can go into more detail on that. Adam, may not have enough context on that one to give a very clear answer, but I want to make sure that we try that.
So if I'm going to guess, that's talking about how each asset has a category which maps to its depreciation schedule. And our fixed asset system specifically will map a pre-built list of categories to the form's depreciation schedule. So when you import it, it'll be able to summarized and mapped correctly by year and schedule.
Good
Which is
deal.
hopefully, if I'm understanding the question correctly, the answer is yes.
Good deal. Well, excellent. Well, that is going to wrap us up. Adam, can you move to the next slide real quick? And if we didn't get to your question, I apologize. Like I said before, though, we will be submitting or be sending out emails to the attendees with answers to questions that have come through. So if you did put in a question, please make sure that you throw us your email address as well, so I can make sure that to know who it has come from, so that we can answer those appropriately. And with that, Andy is now back on video. If you have any questions, or if you would like to do a personal demo where we can really do a further deep dive with you and explore some of your organization's unique challenges, we would love to do that and love to set that up with you. So Andy's email and phone number is right here, and he'd be happy to have that scheduled for you and run through the system again with you. Anything else from the team? I see Robin is actually still on. I'm surprised. Thank you for sticking around.
Of course.
Really appreciate you being on, and can't tell you how much we thank you for your relationship and partnership with us. You are one of the groups that help us continue to drive this forward with bringing up different roadblocks that you've encountered, and that just does nothing but help us get better as well. So we appreciate you. And with that, I will go ahead and close this webinar out. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we'll be speaking with you soon.